get by. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I feel like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders. Today is no different. I have Yoni Tserruya. You can check him out at Lusha.com. It's Get Your Sales Streaming. And, Yoni, I'm going to formally introduce you and Lusha, doing some really impressive things. Before I do, I want to mention some other podcast episodes people should check out. This is part of the B2B SaaS series and Israel Business Leader series. So on the SaaS front, Yoni, I did an interview with the founder of Jotform. Jotform has grown into a global SaaS powerhouse. They have over 25 million users, and it's really product-led growth. And we talked about product-led growth. Lusha is really product-led growth, and they grew through a freemium model, right? Letting people try it, and so did Lusha. So, also Zapier. I had the co-founder of Zapier, Wade Foster, on. Also, product-led growth, SaaS company. There's a freemium version. Talked about how he grew Zapier. Pipedrive, another one. One of the co-founders of Pipedrive. I think I had him on when they were like around 10,000 customers. They've grown quite a bit since then. And I had, I know one of the interviews I watched of you, Yoni, you talked about some of the companies you liked, and one of them was HubSpot. So I had HubSpot Brian Halligan's AI version on. I did not interview the actual Brian Halligan, so people could check out my AI interview, my interview with the AI version of Brian Halligan. And on the Israel business leader front, Moise Navon of Mobileye, he talks about one of the founding engineers. They grew, we were acquired by Intel for $15.3 billion, but it wasn't always that way. He talked about sacrificing pay, had to go back to the family, tell the kids and wife they're pulling them out of extracurriculars because it was an up and down journey. So even though one of my favorite ones was also Joe Levy of AI Alert, and they help detect weapons using surveillance cameras in AI. So have you heard of that one?
No.
Okay. Guns and assault rifle detection. It's AI software for security cameras to detect visible firearms in under 2 seconds and send real-time alerts to first responders. It's crazy. I mean, I wish the thing that happened in Bondi in Australia had a camera that could have detected that, right? It could have saved a lot of lives. So anyways, check out that and many more on InspiredInsider.com. This episode is brought to you by Rise25. Well, first, Yoni, what are some of your favorite Israel business leaders like running companies there? I'm curious.
First of all, thanks for inviting me, Jeremy. Well, there are a few very great companies in Israel, I think, that I admire. First company is Monday.com, and I think it's the best company in Israel in terms of SaaS. So I admire both founders, Roy and Eran. I think that's one. And yeah, I think
does Gong use your? I mean,
yeah.
Like those things integrate with Lusha, right? I mean, people want to pull the data into a Monday or a Gong. They can use Lusha to do that.
Exactly. Yeah, we have partnerships with Monday. We are now about to get partnered with Gong soon as well. So I hope it will be done soon. But yeah, I think we have the intelligence of whatever happens in the B2B world. So we know all the trends and signals that happen in all the companies out there, and key decision makers in each company. So by integrating into Lusha, we can, push the intelligence into any platform and make it, and increase the intelligence in that platform, whatever platform you work with. So it's become very intuitive for us and to do those partnerships, and we always look for it.
Yeah, and I'm going to formally introduce what Lusha does. This episode is brought to you by Rise25. Rise25 helps businesses connect to their dream relationships and partnerships. We do it in a few ways. One, we're an easy button for a company to launch and run a podcast. And we do the strategy, accountability, and full execution and production. We're also an easy button for a company's corporate gifting. So we make gifting and staying top of mind for clients, partners, prospects. It could be to staff from a culture perspective. we're gonna have to start using Lusha, but give us your addresses. All we need is addresses, and some people do it, actually, Yoni, for their prospects. And one company we send like 400 gifts a month to just their prospects. Okay, I was trying to convince them, send them to your actual clients and partners because they know you, like you trust, Jeremy. They already pay us. I'm like, okay, whatever. And so we send to their prospects, but we kind of call ourselves the magic elves that run in the background to help people build amazing relationships. For me, over the past decade, the number one thing that I've done for my relationships is, one, profile the people and companies I most admire on the podcast, and two, send them sweet treats in the mail. So you could probably use Lusha to get all the data so you can actually do this stuff and contact them. So check it out, rise25.com, or email support@rise25.com. As I was saying, Yoni Tserruya is the co-founder and CEO of Lusha, and they're an AI-powered sales intelligence platform. It's used by over 1 million professionals to turn verified data and real-time signals into revenue. And since launching Lusha in 2016, it started off as a simple browser plugin. It's actually for recruiting, but it was turned into a sales tool, and they built it into an industry's trusted verified data layer. And in 4 years, they bootstrapped to over 15,000 customers. And since then, they've raised over $40 million, grown to 300 staff, as I mentioned, over 1 million users, and they've become known for start with truth before automation. So, Yoni, thanks for joining me, and tell us what Lusha is.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you described it great. So Lusha is a go-to-market intelligence platform, and we provide data, accurate data on all the companies and all the professionals that works in B2B companies, in businesses across the world, so that every sales, marketing, customer success organization out there, when they want to focus on the right customers, our platform helps them to filter out who they need to focus on, what are the best customers they need to focus right now on that exact timing, and who are the people they need to connect with. And so I think the beauty of the platform is that it's really simple. Anyone can get started and just search for their audience. But the real breakthrough comes when you start using the platform, or you connect your CRM, for example, and then the systems start to learn you and understand what works for you, and recommend the right companies and prospects you should connect with, even if you didn't know what to ask. So that's like the real evolution, and where AI comes to play, that instead of doing the work manually, AI is here to connect all the data pockets that you have, including all the data in the world, and recommend you what you need to do. That's like where we're heading, and like what we're providing today.
We're going to talk about if you're listening to the audio there, we're looking through Lusha right now, and we will talk about through some use cases. But I want to talk about the evolution of the product itself. It started off as a Chrome plugin. Talk about what made you kind of pivot to a little bit different industry, and some of the the features that you included. What caused the pivot?
Yeah, so at the beginning, we had access to data and technology, and so we tried to solve a very simple problem, that anyone that wants to connect with any other business person in the world will be able to do it very easily, so that the connection won't be the blocker. You can connect anyone. So we identified that recruiters are kind of persona that they have a use case. They need to connect with a lot of professionals, and we built a very simple Chrome plugin that designed for recruiters, and that was the initial thought. But the real breakthrough came when salespeople discovered the product, and they thought, oh, great, that can be great for sales as well. And of course, sales has bigger need. They need more data. There are more salespeople out there. And very quickly, our focus became mainly for sales organization. And as a result, we started to adopt the roadmap to salespeople.
I don't want to jump over this because I think it's a key point, but it sounds like you really were listening to your customers to see how they were using it, what they were using it. What were you doing early on to communicate with them, or were you just observing who was using it?
I think it was both. Um, since because we are a PLG product and it started for free, we always had a lot of data that we saw, all the users statistically and what they did in the platform. So we could simply segment the recruiters, salespeople, or any other persona and saw like the behavior. And we saw very clearly that salespeople are using more. They have different needs. The feature request is different, but it also was clear that for us that's a much better business model for us to grow, and then we shift our resources for that direction as well. So part of it was identifying behaviors, but also we spoke with them either through support or salespeople, and we also got the sentiment of what they really need, and it's happened pretty naturally, I think. At the beginning, it like yeah.
We talk about some of the feature requests and how that shaped the product. Because what I'm going to do is I want to pull up Lusha and what were some critical requests that you were getting and that helped you kind of build it for salespeople?
Yeah, so I think integrations was a key part of
Hmm.
their requirements, because if you're
They're
a
like,
sales
oh, I use Pipedrive. Can you help me pull it in there easier? And then
exactly.
you're like, that's going to take a lot of work. I don't know if we should do that.
Exactly. So there is different platforms for recruiters and for salespeople. And so salespeople needs to connect with their CRM. When they search on the platform, they need to know if it's already exists in the CRM. Like they have a few requirements and different platforms that they need to integrate with. Without the integration, without like connecting the dots, I think the platform becomes less valuable. So like their requirements were different. In addition, salespeople had the need to have campaigns and reach out to a lot of people simultaneously, while recruiters, I think, are more picky. They want to connect with specific people. They don't do it with a blast approach. I think there are a lot of differences of what the persona needs, and yeah, we just we listen to them and we'll build what they are asking for. Uh, Part of what they are asking for, and part of it was what we're thinking is the right thing to do.
Yeah, so it sounds like early on, people wanted a big thing was they wanted to connect it into whatever CRM they were using. So integrations, building integrations was huge.
Yeah,
And it looks like Salesforce, HubSpot, Outreach, there's Pipedrive, there's Zoho, and then obviously it connects with Zapier, which can connect with probably pretty much anything if it's with Zapier as well. And so from the product side, I was looking through the site and there's I'm sure this came from feedback and things like that from customers, but there's discovery, lead streaming, automations, and the connected systems was the integrations part.
yeah.
Do you want to talk about? I want to go through each of these columns because really maybe the connected systems was huge from the integrations side. Which one of these should we talk about next that you got some feedback on?
Yeah, I think it really depends on who is using the platform. Um, if if we talk about sellers, the ones that are actually engaging with customers, they need, the full suite for salespeople. Like they need both to search, they need to engage with them, send campaigns, they need to dial,
They
they
need the
need,
whole automations piece.
yeah, they need everything. And that's why we have the solutions for sellers. And like we have the full suite and including the best data inside of it. But I think what's really interesting recently in our industry is the trends that we are seeing. That the sales industry is really shifting right now from a world that the sellers are doing a lot of manual work themselves. They're choosing, who to engage, the campaigns and everything, into a world that there is more and more automation. The revenue operations takes all the data, doing all the enrichments, build the pipelines, even do the first outreach. so that salespeople can focus just on selling, like reducing the manual work from salespeople and taking all the manual work to a back office automation work. And that trend is becoming more and more dominant in the market. That's why we are investing a lot more in integrations, API, and connectivity, because we see that as the future trend.
So let me see, if I have this correct. Let's say I'm a salesperson. Let's say I use, Pipedrive, right?
Yeah.
I can go into Lusha, I can search, okay, here's my ideal customer of what I'm looking for. I get a bunch of, whatever, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 names. I pipe them, I put them into Pipedrive. And then there's an engage, which automates personalized emails. Can I set up a campaign then of, okay, this is who I'm talking to here. And then how does the engage work? Do I pre-write, let's say, follow-up messages like once a week for like 5 weeks or something? I could put that person into that personalized email. Is that coming from, does that get sent through Pipedrive or through Lusha? How does that work from the engage piece?
So the engage is through Lusha. I mean, we're connecting to your email provider, and then we send the email, and you define the campaign in our platform. And once it's replied, once you want to open it as an opportunity, you can push it to your CRM. That's this approach. I can say that this is the current approach when sellers are doing that. We see more and more use cases today that revenue operations teams want to take all the engagement to their hands and doing the campaigns from the RevOps office, not so that the sellers won't do it themselves. And then the RevOps can take into account way more data from the CRM, data from intelligence platform, and just send better personalized messages. One of the things we allow today in Lusha, for example, you can take recent posts from social media or recent news, and then their outreach or the email that you're sending is really personalized, and it has much more warm approach for the prospect.
Yeah, so basically it's not just, okay, you could write a sequence, an automated sequence, but it will pull in personalized things from that person's social. So each person is going to get a different message.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Which is basically also Google, anyone who sends cold email. I reached out to a couple people who sent a lot of cold email, and I was asking them, what should I ask Yoni? And they gave me some questions. But that's really key just from a cold email perspective. If people are sending cold email, one of the ways people get slapped with cold email, if it's the same message to everyone, Google knows. And so that actually really helps with deliverability and not getting put in the spam, which if someone saying cold email gets one spam complaint, that could ruin that domain.
Yeah. So first of all, I agree. I think, but there are a few stages. Let's call it like that. The first stage is sending the same message to everyone. That doesn't work anymore. Like the customer identify that very quickly. Gmail can see it's a spam. That doesn't work. So there is a second stage when you send personalized email. Like you take the recent post, you take recent news, and you make personalized approach. But that's also, I think, more and more customers feels that it's generated automatically and it's not that personal. So it works today, but I'm not sure for a long time. I think the real breakthrough comes when there is a real relevance and intent and reason why you're approaching. And for that, I think you need a lot of intelligence that takes into account a lot of signals that increase the probability that now is the right time to reach out to this account. Like if you're just reaching out randomly across the year, then you're probably going to get ignored. But if you have, reasons, for example, a C-level just change in that department, or they integrated a new technology that complements to your technology, or they had a recent news that's relevant to your service. Like you need better signal that makes this timing better time to connect. And I think the volume decreased, but the relevancy or the timing is way more accurate. That's like the best approach today, and less about volume, more about relevancy. And it's more about data, just aggregating a lot of data inside.
Yeah. And so I'm looking at, we're in the connections was integrations was key, the automations, there's a bunch of different things here, which is we talked about the engage. And there's Lusha conversations, records and analyzes, and automated prospecting and building enrich and engage automatically. But what Yoni's talking about is really the signal and alert, so which kind of crosses into the automations piece. And this is really interesting. I think signals and alerts. Can you talk about like a use case? I don't know, maybe there's a use case for Lusha specifically, but I know if someone changes position, right? Like there's a new CMO, they're going to be looking at different solutions. So there's different signals and alerts. Talk about how people are using the signals and alerts.
So I can give you an example of how we work. There are few signals and alerts that increase the probability that the company can use Lusha. We're using department headcount growth. So if we see sales department that is growing, like months over months, the headcount is growing. It's a good indication that this company is growing their sales department. They need sales intelligence, and they have a good momentum. So that's one thing that really serves us. Another thing can be that just the traffic for the organization is growing. Like we know there is a sales organization, but the traffic for that organization is growing. Another indication can be, they have a pretty big book of business, like pretty big revenue. Then we can understand that, okay, if they have a lot of customers, they need also signals and alerts. So we just try to understand whether this company has, sales organization, it's growing, and then we can be complementary service for their needs.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is instructive for any company. I know a bunch of companies I've talked to, I don't know if they would know what the signal is.
Yeah.
Right. I'm curious, what else have been good signal and alerts for other companies that use you? Like you mentioned for you, obviously increase the sales team, increasing traffic. I'm curious, what else? What are some other signals from other companies? And they're like, this is
I
kind of
think
falls into our sweet spot.
I think the basics are job change alerts, like some executive changed the role. I think headcount growth is a big one as well. I think intent in general, if we got an indication that a specific company is searching for your industry or solution in your industry, that can also be an intent. And I think this signals and alerts is growing. We're
Is that
about
based on the searches from staff of that company? Like when you say they're looking for the solution, is it pulling in data of what staff are looking for on a certain platforms?
Yeah, it's not that we are aggregating this data, but we are getting that. Like there are providers that give that.
Mhm.
It's an indication that the company has an interest in a specific industry. Um, but I think the world of signals and alerts is growing a lot. We're about to have like 20 different signals in the platform this quarter, and for me, if you ask me, that's the future intelligence. Because the more signals you have, then you get the beautiful thing about signals is that they have a time, it's time sensitive. And so that's relevancy. And if you have enough signals, then you can start combining signals. Like for example, if you both have job change and you have headcount growth together in the same department, that's increasing the scoring like way higher. And this like scoring mechanism based on signals, I think that's going to be the future pipeline generation. It's not even future. I think it's already happened in the present, but more and more companies are about to go to that direction because the spray and pray approach or the random approach is just not effective, not for you as a seller, and it's not good for your customer to get those messages.
Is that Yoni something proprietary, like those 20 signals, or do you share like here are the signals that we're looking at?
So, some of them are pretty unique. But I think what's really proprietary for Lusha is the ability to combine several signals and to create like a combined score. We have a pretty
I think
expensive,
I've seen it. Like when I've looked at it, when someone's inside the platform, there's like a score that's like 71 or high,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and yeah, we have a pretty advanced technology of recommendations. So we took into account a lot of data points. Some of them are not signals, but signals are a big part of it. And then we learn the customer, and the more you use the platform, the better the scoring becomes, and then that's where AI really takes a lot of your headache from,
Yeah.
data.
I mean, another one would be funding announcements, I imagine, is probably a
Yeah,
popular one,
yeah.
right?
Funding is great, like opening a new site, revenue reach to, certain threshold. Those are kind of things that can work as well. Technology acquired, like a new technology started to be used in a specific company.
So you can see here, I mean, just poke around Lucia. It's really interesting. We're looking at that's then really the discovery, which is more the Chroming extension, buyer intent, signal alerts, and then there's lead streaming, the AI recommendations and prospect playlists, and then the automations piece, and then the connected systems piece. But I do want to talk about, you know, from the beginning, what growing 15,000 customers in 4 years, bootstrapped. Um, what were some of the things that you were able to do to grow that quickly?
I think the two main reasons were that we succeeded at the beginning was that one, we invested a lot in the data quality, like the data was good, and people are very sensitive for that. They will pay you, but if data is not good, they will leave very quickly, and it's like you waste their time if it's not good. So the data was good, and the simplicity of the platform, like our PLG and the freemium approach, was pretty unique back then. So it's really opened the market for us because the PLG and
It
the simplicity.
spread pretty quickly. So people would go,
Yeah,
this was great. You could try it out, go do it, and they don't have to talk to anyone.
yeah, yeah. So that was like back then. It was pretty unique for salespeople, and you could do things pretty simply. Today, we are building the same thing, like we're still PLG, still great data, but we are doing it for RevOps and for builders, like people that basically used to have complex systems. We do it in a very simple way that they can take a lot of signals, combine them, and build this scoring that we just spoke about in the platform and get like very clear prioritized lists for their needs. And I think today, if they're not doing it through our platform, they need to invest a lot of energy and combining a lot of external data sources. And if you're using Lusha, you do it in a simple way in one platform that all your intelligence from multiple sources get connected, and it really helps for operational people that build a pipeline.
At what point do you decide, okay, we need to put fuel on this. We need to raise money. Because you could have kept bootstrapping, be like, we're going to keep 100% of this company. We're not going
Yeah,
to like share it. But at
yeah,
what point do you go, okay, we need to raise money? Because that's another job in itself.
you're right. Well, I think at certain point we understand that the opportunity is big, and we want to go all in, and we want to fulfill bigger vision. And at certain point we understand that it's going to be harder to do it without raising money, and because your competition is doing so. So it took us a while to do it, and I can say that, but at the point that we did that, it was 1 year after we understood we need to do it. Like, it took us a lot of time to get to the point that we were actually doing that. We were pretty much ready, but we understood that, like, it's two different paths if you're raising or not. I think today maybe it's a different story. Like, if I would build Lucia today, I'm not sure that money is such a blocker. I think today you can do many more things without raising capital. but I think still at a certain point, most of the companies are raising. So
What was it like raising money? What were some of the challenges?
um, the main challenge for me, because just what you just mentioned, I mean, you can continue and run your business on your own, and you can now bring in a partner, and there is no way back. It's one door choice. Can go, you can reverse. So for me, the most important thing was to pick, great partners, great people, find the ones that I feel I can really get along with, and they also understand our industry pretty good. So we spend a lot of time finding the right people, and I think we did.
Did you have relationships or did you go out and reach out cold to some of these people?
I mean, we had a lot of meetings, and the ones that we really wanted to partner with, we met them face to face. We went for dinners, like we did all this, like we spent time together. I think it is important.
Yeah. I do want to talk about, we talk about product-led growth, right?
Yeah,
And I want to bring up just and again, we're looking at this point in time when we're looking at the pricing page, but what why you decided on the free pro premium, like as far as, okay, here are the features that we're going to include in free. Here's the features that we're going to include in the pro, because I'm sure a lot of time and thought went into this particular, it costs real money. Even the 40 credits per month, like even right what we're looking at with the free version costs you money. So talk about what's included in the free, why that's free, and then why you decided these features in the pro version.
in general, I think the free is like it's mainly for individual seller that starts to use the platform in a small scale, that you can taste the data, can see if it works, can touch the features, and if it works, or need a bit scale or advanced features, then they need to buy and purchase. I believe that anything that you can give for free at the beginning is a good approach in SaaS, and again, users want to try before they buy, and if you allow it to them, then the ones that buy can stay longer, and that's the general approach that we have in mind, and I think it stays up until today.
Yeah, I'm just curious. So like if you're looking at some of these, obviously, the pro, if you want more seats, you need to get pro, right? If you want
Yeah,
more credits, you want to get pro.
yeah.
But there's still a lot included in the free, but also in the pro version, there's different technology intent alerts, which you're not going to get in the free version, um, and so on. I'm curious, why 40 credits? Why not 100? Why not 500? Why not 10? Like,
I
why
mean,
40?
you
It
know,
seems kind of
there is
random.
there is an industry standard for pricing. Like we have competition, so we pretty much see what is the bench. But I can say that in general, we are more and more become usage-based oriented. That the volume you are consuming, that's the number one criteria, and every feature that you use can consume credits. So you basically buy credits, and by using the platform, it's consumed from that credit balance. Um, I believe that that's where the industry, that's where technology is going into usage, and even more than that. So that's the current approach.
Yeah. Building the company, right? So you start off, you have a co-founder. I believe he was buying data from you for something, right?
At the beginning, I mean, you
Yeah.
wanted, but then we partnered. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Talk about the team, the evolution of the team.
Wow, that's big. Um, I think at the beginning, I have an interesting journey here to talk about. At the beginning, the company is have very few people, everyone are builders. Everyone knows how to do hands-on work, and even everyone are multidisciplinary. Like they can do several things. For example, the marketeer can both build campaigns and build the messaging and build the website. They can do a lot of stuff. And also me, if I think about my job, like every 3 months, I basically switched my role or did something different from developer to team leader to product to designer to analyst to whatever it is. Because we were bootstrap, you don't hire those people like before you have the need, you start building, and only when it's scaled you hire the person. It's pretty much the opposite way around. And then I think we grew the company, and we only brought people when there was a clear need. And if we didn't generate revenue, we couldn't hire people. So it was very, I call it, the law of physics works on you when you don't have capital raise, you just income and expenses, and that's what you work on. And then we raised money, and I think it's changed a bit because you want to grow faster, you want to accelerate stuff, and you are hiring or you are you have higher expenses than revenues, and that's where I think actually things didn't work very efficient as they were in the beginning. We scaled, but it's created a lot of um, you know noise as well in the company of how many things you can do simultaneously. Because the truth is that you cannot do a lot of things simultaneously pretty well. But that I only understand that after a while. And now I think what happened, today, the world has changed because now companies that have less resources, more revenue are the ones that everyone are looking at, and AI allows you to do much more with less resources. So in a way, now we're kind of doing the backward approach. We are not trying to increase headcount, but we're trying to have better outcome with less resources, and it's kind of going back to the basics for me in a way. That's why I think bootstrapping today is more closer to the real reality than it was in the past, I think.
So has that changed the hires that you've made,
Yeah,
and how?
I think in general you need more, again, hands-on people that knows how to build stuff. We now need to build a lot of stuff, and we need to also run a lot of AI and agents for us. So you need builders people. You don't need the ones that are big managers, tells everyone what to do, but very far from the execution. You need the builders, the ones that can do things on their own and get to the details when it's necessary. And I think we are in an era that you need very strong ICs that can do a lot of stuff or can run a lot of automation beneath them rather than big managers that can manage a lot of people. I think the equation between how many people I manage or how many people there is in the company versus am I successful is broken. It's changing. So today you want to have less people but more outcome, and it basically means you want a single individual contributor that can do a lot of stuff and less managers in the company. And I think it's really hard for people to understand that. There are still a lot of people that believe that the amount of people I manage means I'm successful. But if I ask me as who I'm looking for to hire in the company, I'm looking for the ones that are very strong ICs, not necessarily look to manage or to grow very fast in the managerial path. They really want to be professional, understand technology, how they can, build stuff, automate stuff, like how they can have higher impact, but no, without managing people. So I think it's really changed. I think it's changing pretty fast.
I want to talk about a couple of use cases. Obviously, there's a BDR and account executive use case, and there's a RevOps use case. Starting with the BDR account executive, maybe talk about Elastic. How do they use Lusha?
Yeah, so I think that's the main use case. Most of our customers are using that use case. So if you are BDR, you typically have, a region or a specific named accounts that you try to sell to. And then you need to get, who are the main and the best contact people in the company that I need to connect with, and then try to connect them and, take this lead and turn it into an opportunity, like something that it's really in a sales process. That's the BDR work. And they consume a lot of data, and they mainly try to generate opportunities for salespeople. The salespeople, they account executives themselves, they might have an existing opportunity, but they also need to use an intelligence platform, because they are not necessarily work with just talk to the right person. They might need to bring additional people to the loop, and they need to connect them as well. Or they just need to get additional information about the company, about revenue, technologies, signals. What happened in this company? How do I penetrate? So they need more intelligence, which is not necessarily connect details. So that's, let's say, in general, the use cases of sellers, both BDRs and account executive. They need to nail a deal, and they need intelligence to close it. I think the RevOps is different story. They don't talk to customers directly. They build pipelines, and they work on the CRM, on integrating data sources, on cleaning up data and make the data accurate, validate, and something that people can trust on. So they're basically building workflows of data enrichment, scoring mechanisms, sorting, and they want to build a pipeline that their salespeople can work on after they did all the data optimization behind the scene. So they need data at scale. They use it through API. They use it through workflows and automations, and they build the scoring and the sorting mechanism on their side. But the same need exists for both of them. They need accurate data. If it's not accurate, we're wasting their time. And the number one thing that today slows sales organization is, when the data is just inaccurate, data decaying is just something that you cannot trust on. So it's the same intelligence, different way to consume it with, more automation and AI around RevOps use cases.
And so, I'm curious from a technology resources, perspective, Yoni, I'm wondering, what are some of your favorite, from your tech stack? And obviously Lusha is part of your tech stack. What else do you use internally?
So we use like extensively now, we're using N8N, if you're familiar with them.
Sure. It's like Make or
Yeah,
Zapier. Yeah.
yeah. We're building workflows. Like we basically try to identify a task that currently people are doing it manually. And we ask, can we automate that? And if we can automate that, a lot of time we just use N8N to automate that using our data behind the scene and using the data we have in the systems, try to automate this stuff.
What's an example that maybe you maybe didn't think it was able to be automated, or someone was like, I don't think that can be automated, that you actually automated?
So we did a few things in sales process. First, we did lead qualification. Like we got a lead, and then we just take this lead. We do a lot of enrichment behind the scene to qualify if it's a qualified lead or not. And only if it's qualified, then we forward it to a human. And that didn't happen before. Before that, we had to use SDRs to qualify that. Another thing that we're doing today, which is pretty nice, we take all the conversation intelligence of our sales reps. We just downloaded all of it, and then we took like the top 6 sellers of all the company in all the company, and then we told AI, take all those conversations of these 6 people. This is how you sell Lusha at its best. And now we basically have an AI coacher that know how to sell Lusha. How to pitch it, how to handle objections, and answer pricing questions. And so now we're using it for 2 purposes. One, when there is a new rep joining the company, he can just chat with this coacher and ask questions. And also, after every conversation that happens in the system, we took the transcript, we send it to the coacher, and the coacher give you feedback on what can you do better next time. And then we just automate that and send it to the rep. So basically, we have an enablement, sales enablement coacher automatically for every conversation. And all of those things, we couldn't do it like 2 years ago without technology of today. So those 2 examples.
But part of that is because they're using Lusha conversations, though, right? So it's being recorded and analyzed inside of Lusha. So it's not like you have to set up a separate system. It's all inside Lusha. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
And is that also powering? Because if you go to Lusha.com, there's actually, you can say, hey, are you struggling to scale your outbound efforts? And there's a question you could talk to. Lucy Answers AI Power. Does that get fed into there so that, eventually I could just ask the questions and that's your sales rep? Does that get fed into the chatbot inside of Lusha too?
You're talking about the conversation intelligence.
Yeah. Like if I look at Lusha right here, right? I can talk to Lucy Answers AI Powered right here, right?
Yeah.
And can I answer those same questions? And basically, it functions as a salesperson or one of your top salespeople.
So this is intercom, and that's also AI that gives you support. And part of it, we trained it to answer support tickets, and we also trained it to answer like simple sales needs. So if you need, like, you have certain sales question, this, AI can answer you and give you the answer without even talk to a sales rep, for sure.
Yeah, how to use Lusha's intent solution. So yeah, but it's really interesting. All this is integrated into Lusha. Yoni, first of all, thanks for sharing the journey. It's pretty remarkable what you've accomplished. My last question is more just on your favorite resources. It could be favorite books. It could be favorite technology, apps, software. What are some of your favorite resources that could be app on your phone that you use regularly?
Actually, today, it's not anything special. I read a lot of books, but to me, what's happened today is, in the past, I used to learn from companies that are bigger than Lusha, and they're like few years ahead of Lusha. But today, I learn from companies that are newer and younger, and they born for the AI age. I learned from AI first companies, and so I don't know their names, and the way I discovered this content is basically based on LinkedIn and X. I'm just I'm consuming a lot of content from companies or from entrepreneurs that are just building their first companies, because I think the way they think about building that is AI first approach, and that's the main thing I consume. And beside that, I'm just having tons of conversations with Gemini or ChatGPT about everything that crossed my mind, and I just learn from them a lot. That's almost any anything that I don't know, I first start by learning there, and then I become more knowledgeable, and the more the time advances, I'm just using it more and more and more. I guess like it's not new, but it's the way I'm consuming today.
Yeah, some of those AI tools like Gemini, ChatGPT, and you're kind of integrating N8N to create some solutions for yourself. Yoni, first of all, thank you. Everyone check out Lusha.com to learn more, and we'll see you next time. Yoni, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sailing right now. I'm feeling like 100 grand.